And good morning. Let me edit this stream title. I did something to this program, Streamlabs, that I have to manually enter the title in the description, or it just runs it as a straight stream and Antoine 734 streams, blah blah blah. I don't know how to fix it. I've tried asking and got no positive answer. So let me type this title in, and this is dealing with DPU and the math involved. Run 8 and description. A brief, B-R-I-E-F, yeah. D-E-S-C-R-I-P-T of how to calculate needed DPUs in a consist. And just go ahead and click on update. There we go, and come back over here. Alright, so right now I'm in single player. I will put a link in the description after I'm done with this live chat. Which reminds me, if somebody knows why my chat box to the right here is not showing up, please feel free to comment and let me know why. I can show you here. You see that it's here, but if I try to, when I look on YouTube, it's not showing up as being there. Alright, so how do we know if we have enough DPU? Well, let's look inside this train. Let me go ahead and grab it and jump inside. And I want to switch, let's say this, I call it MFD just because I've been flight sim so many times, but it's actually called something else here. This is the SD70. Now this one here, this particular train, doesn't have any, well, I don't have it set up yet. I will in a second. I just thought about that. This is the lead, okay? Anything outside of this, so this way, will be considered DPUs. The lead is never considered a DPU. Whoops. So let me jump out, and I am going to, let's just go ahead and start circuit breakers, into train, auto brakes, just do the whole 9 yards real quick. I do have other concepts, locomotives in there. Again, these are all SD70s that's in here. So, jump back inside, let's look back down again, and there we go. What I have read is that you can have no more than 4 DPUs. And right here I have 3 on this particular one, and there's no real reason why I did. I just did it, just experimenting. So you have the lead, okay, and then you have the DPU units, and you can have no more than 4. I don't know why it goes F and G, I have no idea. That's what I understand. Let's see here, Shift T. So as you can see right here, V, I mean, horsepower per ton is 3.6. So that's basically what I have, and then the way somebody explained it to me was you take the total HPT and you multiply it by the total of the weight of the train, or the tons, will give you your whole train's horsepower. I'm not a mathematician, so go figure. But again, you can only have 4 DPU totals plus the lead. So let's hop outside here and what to do. Okay, so let me bring something over here. What I've come up with, and the reason I jumped out, I didn't want to be hearing the radio. I came up with this chart. Now this chart is based on the Union Pacific PDF, which you can download right here. up.com. I'll try to place a description here in the description box, where where you can actually download this whole PDF. And card placement and makeup restriction. And then from there we're going to do coupler limits with helpers, etc. Now, if you scroll up a little bit, you'll come across some charts. And see, scroll up, intermodal. Where did I get that information from? It was in here. I was scrolling through. There we go, right there. So whatever page this is, page 33 is where I came up with this table here, and something I just kind of made with little notes in there. EPA is the equivalent powered axles. The DPA is the equivalent dynamic braking axles. Making sure that when you do your math, always round up after, not during, and any number in this chart that ends in 0 is actually 0.0 or like 4.0, 5.0. It's just going to show up as a solid number. Again, whenever you do your math, always round up after you've done your calculation. So A plus B equals C, you would round up C. So anyway, let's get back down here. A lot of this also has to do with the types of cars, the lengths and whatnot. This is just, you know, hey, I decided to do this, check it out and see, because a lot of times I'm building concepts and it's like, do I have enough power, especially when going through some of the mountain ranges. You know, let's hit here, let's go F3, and we know that 1, 2 in the Cajon area, from CP Martinez all the way down is pretty much downhill, and you got two different grades here. This track right here will have a 3.4 degree, and this one here will have a 2.2. You'll know which track you're on by this cutoff that runs off, and you'll see it, because right after you come out of CP Martinez, you're going to switch over and come down, because normally this is the one. I happen to have this set up a little differently, and you'll see this track and you'll see the little cutoff. So it's a pretty steep summit, and it goes on for quite a while. So it's like, do I have enough dynamic braking power? Well, before you take off, up here at CP Martinez, if you're in this siding or anywhere up in this area, would be a good time to do a brake test. So on a brake test, as I understand, you just get in here and you set your DPUs and field them, and then try to pull and see. At the same time, you want to keep an eye on your coupler limit, because you don't want to break your couplers. But test and see if you can pull your train, see that all your brakes are working. Check your brake pipes and your brake pressures, and again you can change that by going outside, clicking on your train, and right here your valve feed by default is 90. You can actually change that by either up and down arrow or manually typing what you want. And passenger trains usually run, I think, 100 or 110 psi. So you can change that right there, but you want to test it. Let me get back away from the edge here. So what I've done here is taken in pretty much every engine that we have, including the Union Pacific trains with the SD60 and XD60M, and put in to a chart here what their EPA is, the equivalent powered axles, and their dynamic braking axles. There's one section here, and then there's another section over here. So it's divided in half. You got two sections covering every train that I think is in there, and every train that's definitely in that handbook. Before I go any further, a big shout out to Shaggy of the Depot, who made this available on the forums here. Under forums, he's the one that went to mentioning it, and that's where I come up with getting this here and making a chart. So how do you determine, you know, your coupler limits with the helpers? Where do you place the helpers in order to maintain your balance? You don't want too much power at one side and not enough in another, thus causing you to rip your knuckles or not be able to make it up a hill or not be able to slow down a hill. You should be able to go down a hill without touching your brakes at all, your train brakes, using strictly your dynamics. So if you're interested, if you're interested and you want to go the extra route, you know, it's all up in here. And I did my best within this Google Doc, and I'll include that in the description of how to calculate this out. I'm not a mathematician, so I haven't really, it's kind of confusing, and I'm still not sure about a couple of things myself. So another reason why I'm putting this out there, if someone understands it, maybe they can comment on it. So your EPA lead consist plus your EPA helper consist, and that's going to equal your total EPA. Now to calculate the TPA, what you're going to need, divide the total tonnage of the train by the total EPA. So your total train tonnage, and in our case, this would be our total train tonnage would be about just under 10,000. We'll look 9,864. And then knowing that these are SD70s, I'm going to look at my chart here. Knowing these are SD70s, I'm going to come over here and find my SD70s, which are right here. Okay, so my EPA for SD70 is 10.4. So it says, and according to here, and again I have it wrote out here the best I could in this format, calculate, divide the total tonnage by the total EPA. Well, SD70s, how many do I have? I have a lot. Oh my god, I have like 5 different ones, and you have 3 here, 4 down there. Wait, did this one, or was that one there? I have so many different trains here. This one's got 4, so I got my main, which is 3. I got 2, 2, and 1. So 2, 4, 5. And each one of these are SD70, so again, you'd have to get in and figure that out. Sorry, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of how to figure it out. And you divide, just lost where I was at here. Divide, here we go, right here, my eyes are not so good. Divide your train tonnage by the total EPA, okay? Total EPA here says the lead consist plus your helpers, however many helpers you may have. Now you have to determine where you want to put that within your consists, and there's rules inside this PDF here, and a lot of that varies with what types of cars you're carrying, etc. How long? Some of them have restrictions 8,500 feet, some of them have 10,000 feet. It depends also on the weight, but just kind of giving you an idea. It says use 2x2 configuration rather than a 3-1 when possible, which is why I have mine as 3, 2, 2, and 1 instead of dividing it. You know, I don't know, I did a little different. So you got 3 different ways of figuring this out. There's a lot of information that I did not include in here. Yeah, hazardous materials, are you carrying hazardous materials, etc. Single cut-in helper without the rear is TPA times 1/2 of the helper EPA, and that gives you the tonnage. I'm going to kind of briefly touch on it. You can watch this later and look at these charts. Single cut-in helper with a rear helper. Okay, say 24 EPA or less may be located at the other end, other than the calculated position. So you figure out what you have for your TPA, and then you take half of the EPA cut-in helper plus the rear EPA times the TPA equals the tonnage to be placed behind the cut-in. Now that you have a little bit of wiggle room there. So here's an example: 18,000 ton train operating with 36 EPA, a single cut-in of 24, and a rear helper of 24. it gives you a total of 84 EPA. The TPA is 215, and using that formula, 12 times 215 equals 2,580 tons. So that means about within that 2,580 tons, you can move the helpers around. Yeah, it's complex. I don't know if you want to get that deep into it. Me, nah, I just kind of like messing with it, seeing, but it was interesting as I scratched my head and pulled my hair trying to figure all this out. And it gets really, really deeply in depth. I mean, and then there's a couple of pictures now in the in here. It didn't come out so great, and I apologize. There's two pictures there, one there and one here, but you can see them better in here. And this is going to be on page 50. You see basically how and where they go. The whole point is to make sure you have enough power to go up and down your hills without breaking your knuckles, be able to slow yourself down and stop you. Here's another thing I notice a lot of people don't use. Now, I hate going out in a consist and the EPA saying, oh, you only got 1.5 or 1.2, you know. I hated going out in trains like that. The AIs, it don't bother them. They just, and they're gone and they do their thing. I would actually take the time to go to the depot and use the engine calculator. And so what you do is you enter in like with the desired, okay, let's say a 3.0 or 3.5 is what I actually prefer. And the total train weight in our case was total train weight 9,864 tons. So, whoops, I clicked the wrong one there. So 9,864 tons, and calculate, and it'll tell you 7.8 E44s, 8 SD70 ACEs, etc., etc. It'll tell you pretty much what you need to maintain that 3.5. For that there, you can also come down how much horsepower calculator you want down below it, and figure out, okay, if I use how many of these and how many of these, what my total train weight, what the horsepower would be. So if I say 5 SD70s, and let's say I say 2 of them, and my train weight is 9864 in tons, calculate, and that tells me right there I have 2.2 HPT for the SD70s and 0.9, and you can calculate that together. 2.2 and 9 would be 3.1. Yep, and there it is right there, 3.1 total. So this is a little useful tool that I like to use when figuring out what it is I want to run, because again, you want to make sure that you have the needed power, horsepower and braking power. So I wanted to pull this up real quick. Going through the map, and this is the one, this is Cajon, and we're going to be starting out either in Martinez going down, which is right here, or you can start down here somewhere like Cajon or Keenbrook, and you're going up and going by the speed restriction. And which one do I go by? Well, it's pretty simple. M2 blank, so I'm assuming no helpers. M1 and M2, again blank, no helpers, but this one says with helpers. And what your total weight is, so like in this particular train it's going to be 25 miles per hour, because our weight is between 6.5 and 12,000 tons. I had no idea what TOB means, 135 TOB. And it's between milepost 63.2 to 679.3. So you're looking at this map, that's that number 2 right there. It's a 3.4 downgrade coming off of Martinez. You start here and it's flat, and then start working your way down. And even though this road right here at the summit pointing upwards, hours uphill, it goes back further. There's little minor discrepancies, but it's no big, nothing major. The summit it actually continues on all the way through here, you know. So I try to go by this right here, the speed restriction, and knowing what type of terrain I'm going to be going through. Is it going to be flat? Am I going uphill? Am I going downhill? Will it be both? You know, how much weight am I pulling? Will all depend on the makeup of my locomotives and my concepts here. So, that being said, I don't know what else. Grab this PDF. It's got everything in here. I mean, it's pretty long. Scroll back up. This is by Union Pacific as of June 1st, 2018. And it covers pretty much everything: speed restriction, time comparisons, use of horns, heavy mountain grade operations, etc., etc. Working with foreign railroads, security alerts, roadway signs, etc., etc. This makes for some reading if you want. Feel free to grab this here if you want. I hope that it can help people with the calculations. And again, it's taken straight out the book. Since I don't have Microsoft Office, the only way I could do it was to do it with this. Since I was doing a chart anyway, it's just working within that same in order to get the rest of this in without having to go to a totally separate Google Doc. So I will post all this in there, and until then, everybody have fun.